Shadowman Darque Legacy is the newly announced game from Valiant Entertainment and Blowfish Studios. Many of you may not be familiar with Shadowman, so today we're here to discuss who he is and why this game is so important for so many people around the world, and more specifically for Valiant Entertainment themselves. Valiant started out purely as a comic book publisher from former editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics Jim Shooter in the late 80s, but began publishing in 1991 with licensed titles such as Magnus Robot Fighter, Solar Man of the Atom, and eventually their own titles like Ryan Harbinger. In 1992, in the pages of Exo Manowar, they introduced the hero known as Shadowman, a supernatural hero from New Orleans whose title is passed down through generations. His true name was Jack Boniface, and he became the lead of a 43-issue series over the span of 3.5 years, becoming one of the company's most valuable and beloved characters for his rich history, unique personality, and just being a general badass. In the mid-90s, Valiant was bought out by Acclaim. Yes, the same Acclaim that brought you the first 3 Mortal Kombat games, as well as games from a variety of other franchises, such as the WWE, Marvel, DC, and who could forget, Space Jam. They brought Valiant with the intention of turning their characters into a video game empire, but in the process they rebooted the comics as well with a fresher and arguably worse take. However, one of the silver linings of Acclaim Comics was the fact that legendary comic writer Garth Ennis was the one responsible for rebooting Shadowman. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Garth Ennis is the genius who brought us Preacher and The Boys. Ennis' take on Shadowman introduced us to a new version of the character, entirely throwing Jack Boniface out the window and introducing us to Michael Loire. Unlike Jack, Loire is a former zombie hitman who was turned into the new Shadowman by the voodoo priest Nettie. Now you may be wondering why all these details are important. Well, in 1999, following 3 Turok Dinosaur Hunter games and an Exo Manowar Iron Man crossover, Acclaim finally released a Shadowman game based entirely on the Michael Loire version of the character. The game followed Loire as he protects the living world from threats from the dead side, which is kind of like Valiant's version of Hell, or Limbo, if you will. This game went on to become a cult classic with a major following around the world, even receiving a less beloved sequel 3 years later, as well as a full remaster after 22 years. It's easily Valiant's most successful video game to this day. In the early 2000s, Acclaim became financially insolvent and filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which forced Valiant to be shut down. It wouldn't remain that way, as it was bought out and later relaunched in 2012, no longer owned or affiliated with the defunct Acclaim. This relaunch was the blessing that Valiant fans across the world needed, as it brought with it a reboot delivering fresh new takes on Valiant's main characters while still paying respects to the originals. For example, Shadowman was brought back with a rebooted version of Jack Boniface, which revolutionized him as a character and a concept. He was once again captivating audiences around the world and drawing in eyes to the company alongside Exo Manowar, Quantum and Woody, and a roster of other great characters. This triumphant return for Valiant took place amidst a major increase in superhero media. This included the monumental rise of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with many other companies and franchises trying to replicate that success. So in 2018, the multi-billion-dollar entertainment company DMG looked to capitalize. After having produced Iron Man 3, they would go on to buy Valiant, much like Acclaim had over 20 years earlier. However, DMG weren't just looking to expand Valiant into video games, they wanted to launch a film empire as well. Many Valiant films and TV shows have been revealed to be in development, such as a Quantum and Woody series from the Russo brothers, a Harbinger film at Paramount, and quite a few more. But the only one that's seen the light of day so far is the 2020 film Bloodshot. This film faced many issues with its release and reception, and it all stems from the fact that it was released in theaters at the same time that the world was shutting down from COVID. Because of this, their box office never even surpassed their budget. However, Sony pushed Bloodshot directly for a digital release, where it did insanely well and was enough to earn them a sequel, which was confirmed in November of that year. Meanwhile, as part of DMG's media expansion of Valiant, a partnership was announced between Valiant and Blowfish Studios, an Australian video game developer, to work on upcoming games for the Valiant characters. The very first game in this partnership was announced on May 4th, 2023. So, let's put a stop to this unnecessary long history lesson, and let's talk about the game. The fact that Valiant are kicking off their brand new video game universe with Shadowman shows that they're not holding any punches. They're looking to dive into a game with a pre-existing fanbase and hoping that they can capture the minds and hearts of the original game's fans while bringing in many new players to the product. And honestly, I think this is the perfect approach. No other Valiant character has had as large of an impact when it comes to games as Shadowman has, and by virtue, there is no one better suited than him. Now they do run a small gambit by using the Jack Boniface version of the character, alienating it from fans who only played the Michael Loire games but aren't necessarily familiar with the comics. However, I think this is a necessary risk to take. Boniface is the face of Shadowman and has been for the past 11 years, even predating Loire. This will be a great way to solidify Shadowman on a global stage, hopefully even creating interest for him to be brought to the big screen alongside Vin Diesel's Bloodshot. After all, a Shadowman film was announced in 2017 with Reginald Hudlin as the director, but no news has come to light since then. Now this game has been described as an action-adventure with spine-chilling horror, challenging but rewarding combat, and an enthralling narrative with major boss battles, an RPG-like character progression system, and what seems like the ability to travel back and forth between the live side and dead side. And I'm not gonna lie, this all sounds too good to be true. Admittedly, we do have to keep in mind that it's all just words at this point, and we'll have to wait and see if the game reflects that. But everything they've promised us so far is kind of perfect. The biggest takeaway for fans of the comics is the game's title. The Darque in Darque Legacy, Darque, is the name of Master Darque, one of the biggest foes in the entire Valiant universe, and easily their biggest magical threat. Hailing from the dead side, he is the world's most powerful necromancer and has solidified himself as the main rival to Shadowman. This will also be his first time appearing in a Shadowman game. All I can say is, take my money. You know, there is no greater villain to launch Valiant's video game universe alongside Shadowman. So to bring it back to the original question, why is this game so important? Well, aside from how important it is for fans who loved the original Shadowman games, there is no denying that this is an incredibly important moment for Valiant as a whole. Valiant's first official video game in over 20 years, and the launch of their partnership with Blowfish Studios. This could be a make or break scenario, and more importantly, this will be the introduction to Valiant for many people around the world. It is vital that this game is done well because it could shatter what momentum Valiant has left, or it could revolutionize the company and put it on the path to gaining the recognition it deserves. So what do you guys think about Shadowman Darque Legacy? Is it a game that interests you? Do you think you'll be picking it up when it releases next year, or is it too early to tell? Let us know in the comments what you think, and thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.